After 15 years of uninterrupted rule and ignominious exit from her country, Prime Minister of Bangladesh Sheikh Hasina is in India now with an uncertain future. Preliminary reports from Dhaka say that she and her family were given just 45 minutes to leave the country. What's next for Sheikh Hasina? Will Bangladesh erase her history? What will be India's equation with the new dispensation? Can similar situation happen in India? This is Quick Take, your quick guide. I'm Smita Prakash. Sheikh Hasina's son, Sajib Wazid Joy, who's based in the US, said, for the time being, she, Hasina, is in India. She will go back to Bangladesh the moment the interim government decides to hold an election. In another interview, he said she's done with politics in Bangladesh. Joy is not in Bangladesh or in India. Nobody is quite sure if Sheikh Hasina has authorized him to speak on her behalf. Nobody knows where the former Prime Minister is headed, back to Dhaka when elections are announced, or asylum in a European country, or stay on in India. Currently, she's the guest of the Government of India.
My message to the Government of India, first of all, is my personal gratitude to Prime Minister Modi for his government's quick action in saving my mother's life. That is, I am eternally grateful to.
Sheikh Hasina's daughter, Saima Wazid, who's WHO's regional director for Southeast Asia, lives in Delhi. But from one of her tweets last week, it appears that she's not yet met her mother. Some of Sheikh Hasina's colleagues who had fled Dhaka with her to India have started leaving for other destinations. Sheikh Hasina's sister, Sheikh Rihanna, is a UK citizen, and Rihanna's daughter, Tulip Siddiq, is a Labour Party politician. But it's quite evident by now that Tulip may not be able to help her aunt to move to the UK, given the fact that the government there was critical of the elections that saw Sheikh Hasina return to power earlier this year, and also is seen to be backing the move to get the UN to probe the crackdown on student protests ordered by Sheikh Hasina, which led to the death of over 400 Bangladeshis. And while India is unaware of which destination Hasina chooses to go and will continue to host her till she decides, her rival in Bangladesh, the BNP, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, has warned India of tough times ahead in bilateral ties if it continues to provide refuge to the ousted Prime Minister. The BNP has asked the interim government to hold elections within 3 months. Will Sheikh Hasina be allowed to re-enter Bangladesh to head the Awami League if such a poll was to be held later this year? Highly unlikely. Hasina is probably done with politics for now. She's had in many interactions with her colleagues expressed her desire to retire even before 2024. Moreover, the street anger against her and the Awami League is too strong for even the party to consider her return to Bangladesh in the near future. The interim government, led by Nobel laureate Dr. Muhammad Yunus, will have no politician as per media reports. It comprises of lawyers, students, human rights activists and scholars. Neither the Jamaat-e-Islami nor the BNP, who were instrumental in ousting Hasina, are part of the Muhammad Yunus government. Curbing violence, especially the attacks on minority Hindus, should be one of the urgent steps that the new government must take. Already, visuals of attacks on Hindu homes have travelled the world on social media. Sheikh Hasina, as Prime Minister, spoke to me about the rise of extremist elements in an interview 2 years ago.
Extremism is everywhere, but we have been trying our best to control it. We never support that everybody has their each and every religion, they have their right to perform their religion properly. And one should not say such a thing that which will hurt the other religion. This is not good.
What should India do? India is maintaining a wait-and-watch strategy on Bangladesh while keeping its army on alert. New Delhi has evacuated non-essential staff from Bangladesh and is closely monitoring whether the interim government can restore normalcy. India has lost an ally in the Awami League being out of favour. Sheikh Hasina's son Wajid said if the Awami League is not in power, the eastern border of India will not be secure. If there is an alliance of BNP and Jamaat, they may not be good for India as Jamaat will not refrain from militancy. It is in Bangladesh's interest to have warm ties with India. The two countries share a 4,096-kilometer border. The new government will weigh in the pros and cons of having an adversarial relationship with its largest neighbor. In India, there are murmurs that similar kind of protests could happen here too. The remarks were made by two former foreign policy doyens, Manishankar Iyer and Salman Khurshid. Not surprising, because any political party in the opposition would not hesitate to piggyback on a student revolution or a caste or race-based agitation to make life difficult for the ruling party to the extent of even overthrowing a government. It's happened before in many parts of the world, including in South Asia. Why is the situation in Bangladesh something that some in the opposition in India want to replicate or hope to replicate? Because they feel that, like Bangladesh under Hasina, India too is under what they term as democratic autocracy. The Indian opposition's take is that the elections of 2024 have not been free and fair, as the institutions, including the media, did not make it a level playing field for the opposition. Similar to what the students and the BNP in Bangladesh have said since their elections earlier this year. Now, on the quota issue, in Bangladesh, the students got on to the streets, and soon from quota it became a protest about discriminatory policies of the Awami League and venting of frustration over the widespread dissatisfaction with many of Hasina's actions and policies, including the downsliding of economy. Some elements in the opposition in India saw that there were similar agitations, like, say, the Citizens Amendment Act agitation or the Agniveer agitation, which were student agitations, which had the potential of becoming the spark that ignited large parts of the country. They didn't, because of various reasons. But like Bangladesh, India too has fault lines. In fact, more fault lines. Bangladeshis are united culturally and linguistically, and more or less even on religious grounds. In India, we have far more diversity, which can be a uniting factor as well as a dividing factor, depending on which way your ambitions lie. There are some who could exploit the fault lines. Regional separatism, religious or ethnic conflicts, or economic inequality, and, like I said earlier, topical issues like CAA or Agniveer or farmers' issue or caste census, anything can be exploited by a political party to become a mass movement. A revolution, whether by students or other interest groups, meets speed breakers in a mature democracy. Compared to Bangladesh, India has stronger democratic institutions and political mechanisms for conflict resolution. That is what gives India political stability, which is the bulwark for economic prosperity, something that Sheikh Hasina had managed to provide to her people for a considerable period of time. But at some point of time, she failed to read the dissatisfaction among the people and took the path of coercion without mercy.